I'm fine too, darling. So I've checked a little bit of your homework, um, but I mailed it back to you. The only problem is that you sent the homework to me as an email. I need the homework in a Word document, and if you can attach it to your mail and send it to me, that way I can check, cross out where you've gone wrong, and I can put in the corrected words there. So that's going to help you understand how to correct your mistakes. Okay, for the
Okay,
time being,
so
what I've
maybe
done
next
is,
time, maybe I have to write it in PDF,
no, not
then
in
send it.
PDF, in a Word document, Microsoft Word. I'll show you what it looks like. Hang on just a minute. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see what it looks like. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so this is my screen, and take a look at this. This is called a Word document. So I'll just open up a new one for you so that you can see what it looks like. This one. Okay, this is Microsoft Word, and this is where I need you to do your homework. So say you do all your work here, and now when I want to check this, I can use a different color and put up stuff that you missed. You can see this question mark over here. So say if you had written how are you in black and you miss out on a question mark, I can put it in red and show you where you went wrong. Furthermore, if you write say something like this, and say you have written it in black. Okay, now I need to
Okay.
correct this. So I'm going to highlight this and show you that you've gone wrong somewhere over here. So then I can put in a corrected version for you to see. So this way it becomes easy for you to understand where you're going wrong and what the correction should be. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I need your work in Microsoft Word. If you send it to me in PDF, then I'll have to convert this into Microsoft Word and then send it back to you, which is double the work. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so today we want to start with. So I've checked 1 and 2 and I've sent them back to you. I need to check number 3. I can only do that when you put it in a Word document because there are a number of corrections that need to be made there. Okay. So just copy and paste it on a Word document and then attach it and send it to me. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so we want to start with today's topic, and again, this is section A class. So we want to learn what audience and purpose is. That's going to be our topic today. Now, whenever we are given text to analyze, it's important to be able to understand who the audience is for this text. So the text 1 and text 2 that you'll be given in your exams, if you know who the audience is, it will be very easy for you to identify the purpose of that writing, right? Because if you know that, say, if you are asked to write for children who are, say, 6-year-old, in that case, your purpose of writing obviously is not going to be inform or educate. It's going to be to entertain because they're so young, right? Even if you need to educate them, you have to do it in an entertaining way. So that essentially dictates your language. So what are the words that you're going to use? How is it going to look? What are the things that you're going to write there? So if you are writing for 6-year-old, and if you talk about coronavirus being so deadly and so many deaths, so many people dying, United States struggling. If I'm going to put all of this up for a 6-year-old, that's wrong because you've got your wrong information here for the wrong group of people. So see, you have to be able to identify when you are given a text who it is written for. Once you identify your audience, you can understand what is the purpose. Or if you can understand the purpose, vice versa, if you can understand the purpose, you will also be able to understand who the audience is. Connecting both of these, you will be able to understand how the language is being used, what kind of tools are being used in order to get your point across to a particular set of audience. Okay, so I'm going to share
Okay.
two presentations with you today. Both of them are very simple, extremely easy, and very gentle reminders to the fine points that you need to remember when you are reading a text. Okay, so
Okay.
give me a moment, please. I'll just share the presentation with you. Okay, sharing it, my dear. Just a minute.
Okay. I saw the screen is recording now. So actually, I saw that our website have my videos, but I saw that all of that are empty. So do you have any my past lessons recordings which could maybe send to me to revise again?
I can I cannot email it to you or send it to you on a personal level because again this is against the company's policies. But I can put it up in my school's YouTube channel if you want to revise it. That way you can connect to the YouTube channel and learn from there. It's my school's channel, so I have my kids connecting to it, and I usually put up their videos there as well. Um, every week I usually put up the videos. Last week and the week before that, I could not. So we are missing out on a lot of Section A and Section B work because I was busy with some other stuff. So if you want, I can put your ones up there and you can go through them. I cannot personally email them to you because, again, it falls against the company policy. But if you want to,
So you means my our personal recordings which you can send on YouTube, right?
I can put it up on YouTube, on my school's YouTube channel. Would you like me to put it up there for you to revise?
Yes, sure.
Okay, sure. So I'll put it up there this Thursday. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So can you see this, my dear?
Yes.
All right. So this is actually going to talk about different kind of audience that we may be that we may come across. Principally, we are going to divide our audience in two and think accordingly. Because if you have too many segregations in your audience, then it becomes difficult for you to keep so many parts in mind. So principally, we are going to divide the audience in two, and from there we'll subdivide them and learn accordingly. Okay, it's a very
Okay.
simple presentation, and if you have any questions you can ask me. So whenever you are given a text, the first thing that you have to ask yourself is who is your audience. Now I have some children who come up with the answer that it's this text is written for students because they see that this text is being given in exams. However, not necessarily, and this is why not necessarily. First and foremost, when you are given a text, you have to read where it was published or where it has been taken from. So when you look at your IGCSE past papers, you'll see text 1 and text 2, there is a heading, a title, and then right after that or towards the end, it's written where it has been taken from. So you remember our section B class that we did on article writing, the first section B class, and I shared two texts with you from the past papers where it was talking about different kind of housing. Remember?
Yes.
So those texts were actually taken. One of them was taken from, I think, a newspaper, and the other one was taken from a novel. And it was written right there that this has been taken from this place and this has been taken from this place. So if you can find out where this text was published, and you know where it has been taken from, this is going to help you understand who the audience is. So, say for example, if it has been taken from a newspaper, a magazine, a news organization, or a popular website, then you have to understand it is for general audience. Now, what do we understand when we say general audience? It means everyday regular people who can open up the newspaper, read, and understand what's written there. This kind of an audience usually reads the newspaper or the publications from news organizations in order to be updated or to be informed as to what is happening. So number one, if we can identify our general audience, if we can understand who it is being written for, again, look at this. I know what the purpose of writing is when I say that this newspaper article has been written for general audience. So now what happens? If it is a newspaper report or an article and it is being written for general audience, then the purpose behind it is to inform, right?
Yeah.
So see, very quickly, if you can find out where this was published and who it was published for, you can understand the purpose behind this publication, right?
Mm.
Now, if it's another kind of audience is the scholarly audience. If it has been published in journals, then this is specifically for people who might be experts in their subject. So if it's written for, say, a journal of, take a look at this, the New England Journal of Medicine, that means this is definitely not for me and you until unless we really know our medical terms and a lot about medicine itself, right? So this would be for doctors and nurses, for pharmacists and chemists, for people who are concentrating on this particular subject alone. So that makes them the scholarly audience. Okay, so if you read something like this, you'll be able to understand that this is for scholarly audience, because again, take a look at this, their language is going to be very technical and very different. So everyday audience, when they read something, their purpose is to be informed. If it is a newspaper article, or if it is an extract from the newspaper, if it is an interview, if it is something from the novel, their purpose could be to be entertained. In this case, you are usually not using technical language. So you can see over here how audience, purpose, the use of language, how these are all connected together.
Mm-hmm.
It is one that dictates the other, it is the other that dictates that dominates one more. So together they are interconnected, and if we can understand this, then we will be able to know, all right, so now I know my audience, I know my purpose, now I know how my language should be. See, it becomes easier for us to understand. So another thing, when you are reading up a text, is first and foremost, where was the essay published? Was it published for regular people, or was it published for scholarly people? Both of these you can understand by reading the text. Next, what kind of language does the article use? Now, language again will dictate and dominate your understanding of audience. If you see, if it's very technical language and it has citations, citations are number one, those number ones, number twos, and number threes. You know, sometimes you find it on top of words, and you can find the actual a larger explanation at the bottom of the page. Have you come across this kind of writing?
Not yet.
Okay, so sometimes, when you are reading something, you'll see
Mm-hmm.
there's been given a word, and beside that word, there might be star marks, or there might be a very small number on top of it, on one side, on top of it, on the top right corner of the word. And the reason is that later on you read up, go down on the page, at the bottom of the page, and you'll see number one actually says where this word or this term or this information has been taken from. So these are called citations. So if you see that a writing is using technical language or it has citations, it's for scholarly audience. It's for people who understand that kind of technical language and those technical terms. Okay.
Okay.
All right, now one more thing, number three, which you have to remember is what is the author's background? If you know this, then you'll be able to immediately identify who the audience is. So, say if the writer is a reporter or a columnist, again, you will know that they are writing for general audience because that's what reporters do. They want all the information out there for the general people. If it's a professor who's writing, then definitely it is either to educate or to reach out to the scholars and to give some kind of report to them for them to read or for them to be informed. If it's a professor or if it's a subject matter expert, in both the cases, their language is going to be very different because they are not doing their regular everyday report writing. They are probably writing down a report where they are talking about their work, their study, their discoveries. In that case, their language has to be very technical. So if that is true, if you see that the language is technical, again, you will be able to identify your audience. And in this case, if it's professors and subject matter experts who are writing, it's going to be for the scholarly audience. Now, I'll give you an example of what I'm saying. Say I'm an English teacher and I teach children. So if I am writing a handout for the children, it's going to be in simple English language so that the children can understand what I'm trying to explain. If I'm using a presentation, my writing and my pictures that I put there, the transitions that I have there are interesting. I want them to be colorful so that it attracts the children's eyes and they can remember what they are learning with me. Now, if this is the same thing that if I'm going to teach another English teacher how to take a class, with the same presentation and the same handouts, my language is going to be very technical. So I'm going to use all terms that one teacher uses in order to teach another teacher. So this technical language, again, at that point when I'm teaching, when I'm training or teaching a teacher, becomes difficult, becomes different. So in that case, if you're given both the presentations and both the handouts, you'll see that the subject matter is probably the same, but then again, the words that are used are somewhat different. The language and the terms that are used are also different. Because when I'm teaching children, I'm teaching children who may not know this technical language. But when I'm teaching a teacher, she knows what these technical language or these technical words or terms may be. Got it? Are you with me so far?
So in summary, the firstly we just talked about understand the test, then thinking about who is your audience. Then first the first point is where is it taken from? Maybe from newspaper, magazines, and news organizations, or maybe popular website. So all of this are be included in general audience. Then another, for example, like they are the abstract from nature or maybe some very professional websites. So it should be a scholarly audience.
Scholar,
So
scholarly.
scholarly
Yeah.
scholarly audience. So when we so mostly in this kind of articles, the language will be more technical than the last one.
Right, absolutely right. You've got it spot on. Good job. So that's
Then you give me the example is when you are an English teacher, then you teach the different groups of people. If you teach children, then you explain the questions to them. So the article should be right in to the no should be right to the general audience. But if you teach the teachers, so it will be more academic. So the language and uh, the the words should be more formal and the technique, right?
Technical, yes, absolutely right. That is exactly what it is. So, this brings us to the end of this presentation where we just want to understand the three factors that we've read up on. One is, and this is what helps us to identify the audience. Now, remember, this is in terms of reading a text. So, when you have been given a text and you're analyzing it, these are the factors that you must keep in mind in order to understand who your audience is. So number one is where was it published. Based on that, you have summarized it very nicely, where you said that it's either for a newspaper or article, or if it's from say a website, so in that case it might be for general audience. What kind of language did it use? If it is using technical language, like uh, language is used technical language is used in medical journals or subject or journals for subject experts, or when a professor is writing something to inform other subject experts, in that case the language is technical. And then again, you have to consider what is the author's background, who the author is. Are they a writer? Are they a reporter? Are they a doctor? You have to understand that, and based on that you will be able to identify your audience. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we are done with this presentation. I'm going to email you homework on this, and it's a very simple worksheet. I've prepared this in a Word document, so all you have to do is just read the example text that I'll be given, that I'll be giving there, and you have to identify the audience. Who is it written for? Okay, so it's a
Okay.
good practice to just read through a few lines and understand who it is for. If you are able to identify this, then when you're given texts in your exams, it becomes easier. Okay. All right, now I'm going to share another presentation with you now, and this is your purpose and audience put together. Excuse me. And this is where we will discuss how your the purpose of your writing will dictate who the audience will be, right? Or how the audience changes based on your purpose of writing. So just go through it quickly again. That's also a very simple presentation, just a few technical points that you just need to remember, and it's a good reminder. So just give me a minute. Should be able to see. Okay, just a minute, something's going on. Okay, you can see this.
Yes.
Purpose and audience, both of them are interconnected. If you do not know what your purpose of writing is, you will not be able to understand who your audience will be, uh, to who what are the people, what kind of people you need to reach out to, or who is going to read your writing. So your purpose, it is important to know what your purpose is. Now on the other hand, if you do not know your purpose and still know your audience, you can still somewhat design your writing based on the kind of audience that you have. Like I mentioned when we started this class, that if you have younger children, say 6-year-olds, then of course your purpose would be mostly to entertain them. Even if it is to inform them, you will still have to do it in a very entertaining way because they are so young. Now if your audience say is doctors, then of course your purpose would not be to entertain them, because you are expected to write something based on their profession. So you see, when you know what the purpose is, it's easier to identify the audience and read and write accordingly. When you know who the audience is, then you can still probably able to work out your purpose. So let's take a look at this now. Why are you writing, Mia? I'm writing to recount my holiday. So, when it comes to this, when you're writing to recount your holiday, what does it mean? Can you tell me? What does recount mean?
Recall.
Sorry?
Recall.
Recall. Okay. Yes, recount is recalling. And when you are writing about a holiday, uh, you are writing what you did on your holiday, right? So now you
Yeah.
tell me, who do you think would be your audience? Because we have a purpose here. The purpose is writing a recount.
Um, the audience is this girl's friends and
Absolutely right. Spot on. Good job, Judy. And that's what it is. She is writing the recount in order to inform her friends. So her audience over here is going to be her friends. I'm writing to my friends to tell them all about it. Okay, moving on to the next one. Let's try this. Why are you writing? I'm writing to argue that there should be more PE in schools. And this should be directed to whom? Who do you think should be the audience?
um, the school staffs or another school students.
Okay. Uh, Now, if because this person over here is writing to argue that there should be more PE in schools, so there can be two options. One is, like you said, that maybe writing to the staff of the school. So instead of the staff of the school, it would be uh, probably this should be written to the principal of the school, because it is the principal who will be able to decide whether they want to add in more PE classes in school or not, right? So
Mhm.
that's one audience. And the other is, like you said, that children of the same age who will agree or disagree with this idea. Since it's writing to argue, this can be an option where this person can write, say, in a school magazine, discussing the fact that schools don't have enough PE classes and they should have more, right? So in both the cases, this is what it should be: either writing to the principal or writing to people who are of the same age. Moving on. Why are you writing? The purpose is, I'm writing to explain why it rains. Now you tell me who the audience should be.
Could be the students.
Okay, so now when you talk about students, that's good, yes. Now, when you talk about students, there is a huge range of students that we can think about. So, there are children who are very young, there are teenagers who are going to school, there are young adults who are also going to school. So, how can you tell me, um, pinpoint the age group or somewhere around the group, whether it should be younger children, whether it should be teenagers, or it should be older kids? What do you think?
I think there are a very high percentage in the audience is the same age as her, but if the audience is the young is the teenager or maybe the old older people, maybe it should be writing formal.
Okay, hang on. So when I say that I'm writing to explain why it rains, you have told me that it's for children. My
Mm.
question was, if you can identify a group of children uh, for whom this is actually written for. So, are we talking about younger kids, or are we talking about teenagers or older kids? Which group do you think this is for?
Young people, because this kind of questions mostly will be asked by the younger people.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely right. Good job. That's my good girl. And this is what it is. The audience over here is general audience, And in this general audience, we have been able to segregate it, divide this audience further. And now we have understood that this general audience has another category, which is children. Children have, again, school going children, younger children. There are many kinds and many groups and categories that you can divide the children in. So you have been able to pinpoint the group that this is written for, which is the younger children. Why? Because these are the kind of questions that they ask. This is the kind of question that makes them wonder as to what's happening with the nature. So you have been able to identify, understand the question, you have been able to find the purpose behind it, and you have been able to pinpoint your audience. 10 on 10 for this. Good job done. So I'm writing to the junior kids so they understand why it rains. And this is her audience. Okay, so there we go. So now we understand that when we are talking about purpose and audience, all of them are related to one another. And one thing that really dictates the person and audience is the purpose and audience is the language that is used, is the context, the content that is being used in that writing. So say, like you said, she is writing to explain why it rains. It's the language that helps you to understand that, okay, this is for the younger children. It's also the content, the context of the writing. That means why it rains is a question which is asked by younger children. So you have been able to very beautifully identify who the audience is based on the language that has been used, based on the context, the content that is there, right? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So now we are done with our class for section A today. I'm going to email you a worksheet and you solve that for me. That's based on audience. Okay, and let's
Okay.
see whether you can understand it or not. If you do, then very, very good. I would like to mark you on that. Okay,
Okay.
all right. Any questions so far?
Mm, so in this presentation, we are talking about purpose and audience, and then the both of us, they are connected. So firstly, I have to identify the who is the audience, then use to think about where it's taken from, then to think about whether it's the young children or maybe the teenagers or maybe the the older people. Then if it is right for the young children, so the purpose maybe is to uh, entertain them. If the audience is a doctor, maybe it will be expected to write a professional article,
Right.
and then maybe it's informal to them, informal them. Then the question one is the words recount is the English meaning is count something again,
No,
right?
no, recount, it does mean counting something, but it
Mm-hmm.
also has another meaning, which is recall. So that means that you are thinking of what happened when you were on your holiday and you are writing those things down. So when you're thinking of what happened, that is called recounting or recalling. Recount also means to count again,
Mm-hmm.
as in counting numbers and counting whatever that you need to count again. But recount in English language, since we're doing this as our exam studies in our course, this will stand for thinking back and writing it down. So if you're writing about someone's, say, biography or an autobiography, it's all recount writing. That means that this is another kind of writing, just like there's argumentative writing, there's persuasive writing. This is a kind of writing which is called recount writing, where you think about what happened in the past and you write those down. Okay?
So the tense must be past tense.
Always, always must be in the past tense. Recount writing cannot be future or present. Okay? Because you are recalling what has already happened, something that has already taken place. That's why it has to be in the past tense.
Okay. So last lesson we were talking about article writing.
Mm-hmm.
So there are three formats: magazines, newspaper, or maybe website or blog.
Yeah.
But they are writing in the same format. Firstly, the title, I should be writing in 2 or 3 words and only in all capitals, right?
Yeah, because it's the title.
And I have to underline the title
Yeah.
in two lines.
Now, when it comes to title, this is not
Mhm.
necessarily a rule that you have to write in capital. If you don't write in capital, your marks will be deducted. It's no such rule. You can still write it the way you want as long as you are starting with a capital letter, and all your words, if there are 2 or 3 words, all of them should start with a capital letter. So if I uh, say Bob the Builder, then
Mhm.
B, you can leave the T of the in small, but your main words of alliteration, that's B for Bob and B for Builder, must be in caps. Okay, or must be in
So,
capital.
for example, becoming a vegetarian,
Yeah,
B should be in capitals,
yes.
and another letter
You can keep.
only B, right?
So becoming a vegetarian, B should be in capital. If you want to keep a as an A in capital, you can. V of vegetarian should be in capital too. However, if you do not want to write a as an A in capital, it's still okay. As long as you have your main words B and V in capital, it's still okay. So if I if I say, think of an alliteration. Again, let's think of an alliteration which is 2 or 3 words long only. Sandy. Okay, so we can say that Sandy Sally sailed. Now this is um, so imagine that there's a ship which has been named Sandy Sally. So it's the name of the ship, and I'm putting it up in the newspaper or in the magazine, wherever I put this article up. I'll say that it has sailed. That means it's now on its way. So this is Sandy, Sally, sailed, all of them starting with an S, means it's an alliteration. You should start all of them with the capital letters. So Sandy S, Sally S, and sailed S, all in capital letters. Okay?
Okay, so becoming a vegetarian, B A V should be in
In
capitals.
capital, yes.
Yeah. Then if it's become vegetarians, B and V should
Yes.
be in capitals.
Absolutely right. That's what it should be. And
Then yeah.
and you can underline it, and after that
Mhm.
you write your name written by. Okay?
Written. Oh, so by somebody, I could choose to write as the start of the article or maybe at the end of the article. But to prevent forgetting, write that the 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 best way is to write it as the start of the article, right?
Absolutely right. Because sometimes when you might be in a rush to finish an article, say you are pressed for time, you will be able to finish your article very fast, or maybe just in the nick of time. You might just forget that you have to add your name to it. So we don't want that. So it's always good if you can write the name of the article and then write by and then put up your name. So you've got like 2 things done already. Then you just have to concentrate on writing the article correctly, right?
So after that is the writing structures. I should write a introduction, then body,
That's
then conclusion.
that's right.
And also in introduction, Hulk is so what is a Hulk?
Okay, the first sentence that you use must be written in such a way for an introduction that really gets your reader's attention. So you see, when you are getting a reader's attention, they want to read on. If you can do this with a reader, this is called a hook. Why is it called a hook? I'll explain it to you. Have you ever been fishing? Have you ever been fishing, Judy?
Uh,
Have you ever caught a fish using a fishing rod?
I just eat fish.
Haven't caught it yourself, right? No worries, I'll explain this to you. So when you are actually fishing, you have a fishing rod. At the end of the fishing rod, there is a hook. And on that hook is a bait, which actually helps you catch the fish. So this is why this first sentence is called a hook. Why is it called a hook? Because just like when the fish comes and grabs onto that hook, they cannot let go easily. Similarly, when you are being able to write a very interesting first sentence or a very shocking statement or a question which is making your reader think about things and they want to read on to see what is it that you are writing, this is grabbing their attention and holding on to it. That is why this sentence is called a hook. Okay?
So you mean the in introduction, the first sentence, if it can be written in interesting statement or phrase or questions, could attract the readers, which is like a hook,
Yeah.
and to catch something.
Right, absolutely right. And that is why your first sentence has to be interesting. Now, if you have a very regular first sentence, which probably millions and millions of exam children who are going for their exams will use, then you see you are not being able to hold on to your examiner's attention. Now, if you actually look at it from a teacher's perspective, from an examiner's perspective, they are probably checking thousands and thousands of papers. And every time they read an article or they read an essay, it becomes boring for them because those might have very regular introductions or very regular sentences. Once upon a time there was a boy, okay, full stop. This kind of a sentence is probably being used by everybody. But if you start with the boy stared and thought, should he run or should he fight? So immediately you have brought your reader right in the middle of things where you are trying to, where the reader now wants to know what's happening. Why does the boy think like that? Or is he going to run or is he going to stay and fight? If he's going to run, then what happens? If he's going to stay and fight, then what happens? Is he going to live? Is he going to die? See, so many questions come into the mind when you read something like this. So that is going to make your reader want to continue reading. And that is why your first sentence is always very, very crucial. Okay?
Okay. So the transition sentences, is it like a response the Hulk?
Okay, so the transition sentences which connects your first sentence and the next sentences in the body of the article together. Now, why is it important to be able to connect these together with another sentence? Because you see, when you are using an introduction to a topic,
Mhm.
this introduction has to have some kind of sentence which opens up a doorway, which opens up an opportunity for the next sentences to talk about the topic. So if I say that there are 40% of, did you know? Say, if I say, okay, what can we talk about? All right. Did you know 40% of the food found in the third world countries are all adulterated. Now, if I say that, that's an alarming rate. That means that a whole population of a land is eating food which is not clean, which is not pure, and 40% of that food is being eaten by a whole population. So this is an alarming information, right? Now, if this, now
Mm.
this is just an example, it may not be true. If this is what you start with, then your second sentence has to be an introduction to the discussion that is to follow. So you can write something like, this article will tell you how this can be stopped. So now I put in this sentence, and this sentence will help me to introduce the topic in my body. So when I'm saying that it is easy to stop this kind of an adulteration by managing things well, or by creating a team who can go regularly visit the grocery stores and keep an eye on, keep a check on what is being sold there. So if this is my article, then I start with an interesting hook, with a question, and then I say that this article will help you to understand how this can be avoided. What can be avoided? The question that I've put up there as my hook, the first sentence of my introduction. So I've taken the first sentence of my introduction and I am connecting it to the body of my article. This can be only done when I put in a transition sentence. This transition sentence is when I say that this article will help us to understand how this can be stopped. Got it?
So hook is like mm, this is the no, sorry,
Yes.
interesting sentences. Then the transitions, like it is a connection sentence. No, it is a sentence to connect to the body information.
To the introduction. Yes, the introduction that has been given needs to be
Mm-hmm.
connected to the body of the article, right? You can't just
Mm-hmm.
write a question and then leave it just out there. It has to, there has to be a connection, with this question to everything that I write in my article. So if I just say, for example, if I say that 70% of 70% of our population in the third world countries are not truly educated. This is again just an example. This is not true. So if I say that, then I am giving a very big figure, and I'm saying that in this part of the world, 70% of people are left uneducated. That's like millions and millions of people being left uneducated. That's a very big number. So now what do I do? If I just leave it there and then I talk about, okay, how online education and offline education is helpful to educate people, it does not connect. If I'm saying so many people are uneducated, what do I have to say after that? I have to say this article will help us to understand how we can help these people to be educated, or how this percentage can be reduced, or how it is possible to still reach out to these people even if they are a grown population, um, so that they can educate themselves. So there are so many ways you can connect this first sentence to the body. But if you just write the first sentence and not talk about how, what are you going to do to solve this problem, then there is no connection between your introduction and your body. That's where you will use your you will lose your reader. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in whole articles, actually, in introduction, body, and the conclusion, I have to repeat my statement and the body claims again, right?
Okay, not repeat. Don't keep on repeating the same thing again and again, otherwise your writing becomes boring. You will write it in such a manner that you
Mm.
are endorsing, you are 100% establishing what you want to say. So if I say that children should not have fast food, should not be allowed to have fast food, it's bad for their health. If I say this, and I'm going to start with something like that, then I will have to write in my whole of the article, I will have to prove why I am saying it is bad for the child. But not once will I repeat saying that children should not eat fast food, because I've written it there in my first statement. So after that, I'm going to put in points, I'm going to put in advantages, I'm going to put in disadvantages, and I'm going to talk about why it is important that a child should not be allowed to eat too much of fast food. So, what's the good thing about it? What's the bad thing about it? After that, when I conclude, that is where I can emphasize that we can see that eating fast food too much harms the child. Do we want our children to be harmed like this, or do we want our children to still keep on eating fast food on a regular basis? Now, I've asked a question and I can just leave my article there. So I'm leaving a thought for the readers to think about, and I'm asking them that, I've explained what the advantages and disadvantages are. Now you tell me what is right and what is wrong. You think about it so that you take the right decision. So you see, I may have started my article saying that this is bad for the children, they should not be allowed, but I'm not going to repeat and re-repeat it. I'm going to re-endorse this by establishing other points, by showing the advantages and disadvantages, and I'm going to very nicely and clearly put it out there so that people understand that this is not a good thing to do. Okay?
So according to this topic, children should not have to eat too much fast food. Um, the firstly, in introductions, I could write the first sentences is the, nowadays there are a lot of children in like eating the fast food every day. Then the then I can say some people think it is unhealthy for the young children because the fast food is a lack of the sufficient nutritions. Then then in the body language, I can then I can end my statement is uh, to my points, and I think. I'm totally agree with them. So then, in body sentences,
So
I
actually,
can
in my opinion, I back the statement and I agree with them. Or, in my opinion, this is right. Children
mm,
should not eat fast food on a regular basis. Or, I feel, I believe, it is my opinion, I think. All of these you can use. Any of these you can use.
so in body language, I could write the points which related to advantages, and I think mostly I will write two disadvantages and
Absolutely
only
right.
one advantages
Yes.
because go through these topics. I think most students will think about the detrimental effects for the children.
Mm.
Then, in conclusion, I can say we can see eating too much food, too much fast food, could hurt young children. And then maybe in body sentences, I could write some examples which includes the numbers like statistics.
Right.
Then from which website or from nature's. Then at the end of that, in conclusion, I could end my suggestions.
Right.
Maybe my advice is we could allow the young children to eat the fast food, but we should limit the times to eat it.
Right. Absolutely right. That's very right. And this is how you can actually design the whole of the article. Now, since we are talking about article writing here, instead of in the conclusion, okay, so you are going to tell us how harmful it is having fast food, and then you're going to talk about maybe something in favor of it if you feel that there is something that you can speak in favor of this. You can talk about how it contributes to obesity. You can talk about how obesity is dangerous for a person, what are the medical conditions that they create. In the end, in conclusion, remember I told you, don't dictate, don't dominate, don't tell people what to do, but you put out something over there, put up an opinion, or put up a thought, or put up a statistic that is going to make the people think that whether they are doing right in letting the children have fast food so much, or you can just put up an opinion there saying that maybe there will come a time where people will understand how harmful it is for the children, and then maybe the children will not eat fast food on such a regular basis. And of course, the final word would be, it's always a good idea to limit the intake of fast food. Of course, we cannot say no to children, but we can limit what they we can limit the number of times they have fast food in a week. So you can uh,
Limited frequency.
yeah, you can talk about the frequency. This sounds wonderful. You'll be able to design it very nicely. Now, the only thing that we probably need to practice and learn is uh, that you do not make any grammatical errors when you are writing these articles. So, the more you write, I'll correct them for you, the better your writing will become. Okay? We actually have run out of time, my dear. I wanted to do some grammar work with you again today. So maybe we can have a grammar class in our section B class.
You may accept our class for learner English language B. Maybe we could end one more class for grammar practicing, right?
No, not a separate class. I can actually squeeze in the grammar work at the end of our section A lessons. Like today was our section A lesson. So once I finished the presentation, we had some time, so we could have done some grammar work then. Since you had questions, it's good that you asked these questions and we discussed all of this. That's very good. The more you speak, the better it is, because your spoken English will be practiced and you'll be able to write it better as well. However, we still need to work at our grammar. So what we will do, since we could not do it today, uh, in our section B class on Tuesday, we'll do our work on section B, and then we'll take out just 10 minutes time in the end, and we'll do some grammar work as well. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now any questions, or I can let you go now?
So the firstly, I should write my homework in the futures in words,
In the
right?
future, in a
Yeah,
Word document. Yes.
in words document. Then I still have two homeworks should send to you, and one more homework should rewrite in the words documents.
Yeah, you just need to copy and paste because you've already mailed it to me. But there, I need to check that correctly so that you can understand your grammatical errors there and how to structure the sentences correctly. If you can send it to me in a Word document, I can give you answers based on different colors there. It's easy for you to understand and correct your mistakes if you have it in that way.
Okay.
Okay.
And then our lessons, recording lessons, maybe you could post on YouTube, then I can see that.
Absolutely, yes. I'll do that, but give me till Thursday. I cannot do that before Thursday. I have back-to-back overlapping classes now and then. So as soon as I'm done with the week, my weekend is Friday and Saturday, so I can give it to you Thursday night. Check the YouTube channel every Thursday night, okay? And you'll see some videos are up there on Thursday night. Then you can watch them during the week, the next week, okay?
Is this for all of the past lessons?
Yes, yes, I'll give you all the lessons there. And you can
Okay,
look
thank
at
you
a
very
few
much.
more lessons that will be coming up as well. Not only your lessons, but my school kids' lessons too. So you can compare and go through them a little bit in more in detail. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. All right. I shall see you in the next class then, my dear.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you
take
very
care of
much.
yourself. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye.